So there's this notion within society that the sole metric of your success as a human being is how capitalistically viable you are. I think that's utterly ridiculous and quite harmful. So you hear people talking about, you know, we need a revolution and then we need to do this and do that and take up arms in the streets and things of that nature. But I think a real or more sustainable source of or method of revolution is changing the way we think. Like, not necessarily the outcomes and the actions of which we do, but more so the apparatus of how we get to those conclusions in the first place. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, the notion of corporate success and making money in capitalism and within a capitalist society, I see a paradigm shift that we're moving towards more people actually valuing their passions and hobbies over money and corporate success. So basically, let me just break this down real quick. Knowledge is a subset of belief. Every everything that we call knowledge and I know this, I know that is merely a belief. A belief, you're with a belief, you're either convinced or you're not, right? So let's take a knowledge claim, like a claim of it's sunny outside, right? I don't actually know that with absolute certainty because, you know, as far as we understand, there's not really anything that we can conclude with absolute certainty, but I believe that it's sunny outside for good reasons. So that's what we would consider a truth claim or a generally accepted fact, right? So when we talk about beliefs, your actions necessarily comport to your beliefs because you act on something. When I take a step, I'm acting on the belief that the ground is stable enough so that when I take a step, I won't just fall and break my leg. That's a belief. It's a strong belief. I believe it to such a degree where, as far as colloquially speaking, I would be comfortable enough with calling that a fact, right? That the ground is stable, that I believe I proportion my beliefs to the evidence of the claim, right? Um, so yes, belief, your actions necessarily comport to your beliefs. Beliefs are all that it takes to inform action. I preface that to say this, that if, for example, in a capitalist society, if you believe that your sole worth as a human being is how capitalistically viable you are, then your actions are going to reflect that, whether or not you're cognitively aware of it or not. So if you think that your sole purpose is to make money, uh, then you're going to, for example, get a job that you hate that makes more money than a, a job that you may make less money, but you have more free time to enjoy your hobbies. And therein lies where I think the paradigm shift of, I guess Gen Z or the younger generation is trending towards more of a people actually caring about their passions and their hobbies and their ideologies rather than being a cog in a capitalist machine and trying to climb a corporate ladder. So, see, I think that's actually the more revolutionary thing. Because, like I said, your beliefs, your actions comport to your beliefs necessarily. It's not like you don't really have a choice. You're presented a claim. You're either convinced of the claim or you're not. I mean, it's literally, let's just put in a syllogism or proposition A. Proposition A is true. It's either true or not true. That is, put anything in existence, and that is necessarily the only two conclusions due to the laws of logic: identity, non-contradiction, and excluded middle. Everything is red. Everything is red or not red. Red or not red. I didn't say red or blue, but red or not red. So, yeah, so where was I going with this? So that's the paradigm shift of people in a capitalist society realizing that, oh, I'm not a cog in a heartless capitalist machine to make money for some guy that doesn't care about others. I actually, it's okay for you to have hobbies. And this is another thing, now that I'm saying this, that capitalism has people thinking that if their hobbies or passions are not capitalistically viable, they don't make money, or they don't make enough money to support themselves, or that they don't make enough money, such as like millions of dollars, for example, like a professional athlete or a famous musician, right? It has this kind of notion, this unfounded, really unfounded notion that you have to make a certain amount of money for your hobbies and passions to be legitimate or to be validated, or I don't really know, because we're kind of talking about these dogmatic, unsubstantiated viewpoints that are based on what? I don't really know, but I'm just saying that those things, those notions are ridiculous. Like, if you like to cook, then just cook. If you like to bake, just bake. If you like to make music, make music. If you like to play sports, play sports. If you like to make videos, make videos. It doesn't have to be something that society deems as professional or valid, or whatever other term they want to use. You know what I hate? I hate when people try to pigeonhole a dogmatic view that's not even based in evidence onto other people. Like, like, just for example, because we live under capitalism, so that's a popular one. It's a popular sentiment that, oh man, you gotta get that money, man. Man, I'm getting that money, man. What you doing, bro? Man, you getting them things gone. You moving them things, man. Flipping them. Getting my money. You know what I'm saying. Getting that money, man. What you on, man? What you been doing? What you been up to, man? You get that money, man? You get that money? You broke ass motherfucker. Like, it's never like hi, hi human being with emotions, ideologies, passions, hobbies, values. What have you been doing to enjoy your life? How is your mental health? You know, what do you like to do for fun? It's always, so what are your grades like? What do you do for work? You know, you know, how many degrees do you have? Why is it always, why is your worth as a human being centered around what you can provide capitalistically? Like, people wonder why there's such a high depression and suicide rate amongst young people, because we realize this shit from the fucking jump, man. Like Gen Z, like, you can't really bullshit them, because as soon as they were born, they were already born into the shitstorm and the consequences of the boomers and their, obtuse, short time horizon, uh, lack of anticipation for the consequences of their actions type of thinking. So we were already born into the shitstorm and the downward cascade of bullshit of that. So it's like, we never fell for the bullshit. So anyway, why is it always, man, oh, he broke. He ain't got no money. Well, he's actually a nice guy. He broke. Why you broke? Why ain't got no money? It's like whenever people ask you, what do you do for a living? They're asking you that. It's almost as if they're asking you that to then judge your worth as a human being based off what you say. They're gonna judge your worth as a human being based off your answer on some arbitrary hierarchy of capitalistic viability. Like as if, a CEO of a company equals the greatest success known to mankind, and a fast food employee is a loser, even though, just total bullshit, right? It's like if you didn't choose the generic preset path in life, they think you ain't shit. They think you ain't shit. They think you broke, you fell off. They just think you ain't shit. You're worth less of a human being. You're worthless. You ain't shit. You're not even on my radar. I don't even register you as a human being, because they didn't choose some generic preset path in life that was told to you through propaganda that you didn't critically think for yourself and realize, wait, why do I believe this, and why am I projecting this unfounded claim onto other people dogmatically? But, it's like, you fell off. You broke. You ain't shit. You fell off, huh? Well, actually, I limit my participation in commerce due to ethical considerations. You fell off. He fell off. He broke. That boy broke. You ain't shit. You ain't got no money. Where your big truck and house? You don't got no big house. Who you work for? Where you work at? How much is your paycheck?
Where your big house and your big truck?
Well, actually, I try to limit my participation in commerce as much as practicably possible due to ethical considerations.
Where your big house? You broke. You fell off.
Damn, son, you ain't got no money? Why don't you just put a gun to this dude, head, blow his brains out, take all his dope, his crack, and his bricks, man, and flip that, run up a, couple bands, and do that, man. You can get on his money, man, Damn, what? You're what? Ethics? What? Morals, ethics? Huh? Bodily autonomy? I don't know what that shit is, man. Get this money. Let a nigga on his dick, man. He on his dick, man. Man, you gotta remember this, man. Y'all gotta remember this. You know, your dreams and aspirations is liable to be naive nonsense to somebody else. Your passions and hobbies and goals are liable to be stupid bullshit to other people. You can't expect other people to have the same passion for your goals as you do. Right? And that's okay. That's okay. That's the good thing about living in a supposed, democratic society. At least that's what they say. But yeah, that's the freedom. That's the good thing about that, right? We all have our individual liberties and bodily autonomy, supposedly. But that's okay if other people disagree with you. That's okay if you disagree with other people. That's actually a good thing, right? If you ask me. But that thing about expectations, of expecting other people to have the same passions as you do, or have the same intensity of passion in something that you're interested in than you do. You can't dwell on the fact that they don't have that same passion. They don't share that same passion. So you just have to kind of stick to it, and can't be overly attached to outward opinions of people that don't share your same values. You still see them as a human being. You still, you still want them to live their lives and have their individual liberties and autonomy. But you both have a mutual respect that I like this, you like that. Hey, we can both coexist in this finite space and live in a pretty progressive society. At least that's what I hope. I never understood how you can just see a random person and just say, oh, that guy's a loser. Fucking loser. Look at him. Loser. Like, how can you see a random person and attribute what their values are if you never ask them? Like, how does that work? You're just projecting your own values onto another person. You're projecting your own arbitrary values that which you can't even quantify on a consistent basis onto another person, and trying to like disparage them or make fun of them, or embarrass them in some way, shame them. Like, what positive does that do for the world? What does that do for that guy? Like, you're just judging people. You're not attempting to actually help them. You know, you look at a guy that works at a fast food job, or a guy that works at some type of you know, quote unquote low wage, low skill, dead end job or whatever. And you just look at them, and there's these people that look at those people and assume negative about them. You know, this guy's a loser, whatever the case may be. It's like, you don't know what this man values. You don't know what this man, woman, this person values. This person can be way happier than a person making 10 times as much. And why? Because money isn't the sole metric of success. It's, you know, success is, it's subjective. Depends on who you ask. So it's like you wouldn't know if a person is successful until you actually, you know, got to know them. Another thing, it's pretty interesting how people judge success based off of these characteristics and traits that are genetically determined, like drive, tenacity, motivation, doggedness, you know, things like that, like charisma, you know, attractiveness, willpower, you know, just extroversion, things like that. It's like these things are genetically determined. Take, for example, like willpower. Like, you know, you see a guy doing a seemingly difficult task. You're like, you know, he's persevering through it, you know. He's mentally tough. He's got a strong mind. You just a wimp, a wuss, sissy. Damn soy boy. You're just weak-minded. Just a little pussy. You know, scared to get your hands dirty. Scared of hard work. Scared to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Put your nose to the grindstone, pound the pavement with gumption. And it's like, no, it's not that this guy is mentally tougher or whatever that means. You know, it's not that he's mentally tougher or has a stronger mind. He actually, you know, this guy doesn't actually suffer when he's doing the seemingly difficult tasks, because, you know, let's say, for example, this guy has some type of he has the genetics where he has a naturally higher testosterone level, which he gets pleasure from hard tasks. So you're comparing these two different, genetically different individuals without even knowing the underlying mechanisms for their behavior. And then you just make up these, you know, unsubstantiated notions and just spread it around, like in a dogmatic fashion. You know, mental toughness doesn't exist. It's not a thing. It's not scientifically substantiated. It has no evidence whatsoever. Mental toughness, strong mind, you know. It's not, like I said, man, it's not that this guy is stronger minded. He's exerting more willpower, or he's exerting more, you know, whatever you want to call it. It's different for different people, you know. Now, you can't really compare people in that way. Like, you can compare people for some things, but to judge a person's worth on, you know, their personality traits or things that don't really, I guess, don't inherently negatively affect other people, but you just find it, you know, you just don't like the way, oh, I don't like him because he's, you know, he's introverted, and, you know, I don't like him because he's fucking, you know, He likes to think rationally and instead of just run his head through a wall like a man. You know, I don't like it. You know, can't really judge people because you gotta remember, man, everybody, everybody's operating on different. Everybody's different, right? Everybody's operating on a different mechanisms, right? So it's the same mechanisms, but with slight variations or whatever. Variations within the a normative distribution of traits or whatever you want to call it, the bell curve, right? So with that being said, you got to realize everybody isn't fortunate enough to just roll out of bed feeling like $1,000,000 ready to take on the day. Some people, they it's a struggle for them to feel enough energy when they wake up in the morning to brush their teeth or take a shower. When they do things like that, that's successful to them, right? But some people, they win $1,000,000 and it's nothing to them. It's all relative. You have to compare it to yourself. You have to compare yourself to yourself. Right? So it's like, I don't know, man. It's really about having compassion for other living beings, other people, other humans, right? So other organisms that are able to reciprocate that compassion. So it's like, I don't really see what's the use of just, going around and judging people and denigrating them, admonishing them, shaming them for something that they can't control. I never understood that. It's different if, notice something, hey man, I noticed this about you and, maybe you didn't notice it, but, I'm just letting you know because maybe you might want to, work on that if you want to, right? So not just look at this ugly motherfucker, look at his fucking, I don't know, big nose, you're ugly, you have a big forehead and a big nose, like what can that person, like what does that do? Like what do you get out of that? Do you get some type of ego stroke? You're insecure, so you gotta put others down to make yourself feel better about yourself. Man, you need to get that checked out, man. You need to get therapy, man. There's therapy for that, man. You're comparing, you got 2 kids, one of them, he's going around, killing animals and, hurting other kids, bullying other kids. And he's like, he's just a tough kid. Nah, the motherfucker might be a budding psychopath. He's not a tough kid. And you got this psychopath running around just fucking terrorizing people, just terrorizing the world, right? And you got this, and his sibling, he's getting just berated by his parent for being, weak or, oh, why you're not as tough as your brother, man? He's a tough kid, he has a penchant for violence. Violence just doesn't. He has a strong stomach, man. I shot a deer with a fucking sawed-off shotgun, blew his brains out, and the guts flying everywhere, brains flying everywhere, man. It didn't look like it bothered him, man. Didn't look like it bothered him too much. Didn't look like it bothered him at all, man. That kid had a strong stomach, man. I like tough kids like that, man. Tough SOB, man. Tough son of a bitch. So now you're judging the neurotypical kid based off the same metrics as you're judging a psychopath. And now, this kid has empathy. And you're being hard on him. Now he's anxious, he's hypervigilant, he's depressed. And you think he's just some weak, weakling. while this other guy is probably gonna grow up to be a a criminal or thief or murderer, rapist, anything, or actually more realistically, uh, some type of successful businessman or something. You know, criminal, businessman. Either way, this guy's gonna be terrorizing the world in some way, and you're praising him. You know, it's like you gotta recognize who you're dealing with and take it on an individual basis. You don't have to live your life as a spectacle to other people. You can just do what makes you happy, and as long as you're not hurting others, cool deal, man. It's like a lot of people they feel like they have to keep up with the Joneses and stuff, like because they're doing something that they enjoy, but they feel like other people perceive it in a certain way, so they get some type of like anxiety or like some type of unpleasant feeling when they do that thing. But when they do it by themselves, when they're just doing it for the pleasure and the passion that they get out of it, they feel great. But when they're around other people, they might feel a certain way, like embarrassment or shame or something. Like that's just nonsense, man. Like, just I would say ask yourself why. Like, why do you feel those things? Like, just question of why do you feel those things? It might be something that you can't control. It might be something that you can't control. You never know. But yeah, man, you don't have to live your life to be a spectacle for other people. Just do you. Though I notice in like modern days, like the younger generations, we're exposed to more, just more news in general, more information at a faster rate in general. Even though the world is trending to get better as time progresses, our perception of time is like, such a way that we see more bad news, even though there's technically less of it, less bad things happening than before, but we see more of it. So like, the younger generation might see this and, say like, man, I want to make the world a better place. I want to save the world, and that's a great thing. That's a noble, honorable thing. You know, you want to make the world a better place. You want to leave the world better than you found it. Great thing. I applaud that. But I also gotta say this too, like, don't get so fixated on trying to delegate yourself and take that social responsibility all on yourself, without, looking out for your mental health, looking out for your physical health. Don't take all that burden on yourself, right? It's like, don't try to make yourself a martyr. I see that a lot. Don't try to make yourself a martyr. That's another thing, because I think a lot of people, what they find interesting, or what they find appealing about martyrdom, like being a martyr for some type of cause, is that it's easy to be a martyr. All you have to do is die. Like, think about that. It's easier to be a martyr than to actually make change. It's easy to just virtue signal, I'm for this cause, and then get a bullet to your fucking head. It's easy to do that. It's hard. It's harder and less glamorous,
less, it's thankless. You know, it's less appealing, less sexy to actually put in the groundwork, you know, grassroots, and actually try to get change done on a smaller scale, and then slowly build it up and scale it to on a larger scale. You know, that doesn't sound as jazzy and snappy and catchy, you know, but that's what actually works. You know, who would have thought? So don't get so fixated on trying to save the world. If all you did today was save yourself, that's okay.